So today we're going to talk about the fire alarm business blueprint and what the fire alarm business blueprint is and how it can help technicians, electricians, or any entrepreneur that's looking to start a business but not sure what they want to do. This gives you the entire outline of how you can actually do it, how you can get your license, certification, build the business, and things like that. All right. So week one of this live session, because every 2 weeks or bi-weekly, I want to say, every 2 weeks, I'm going to be going live, whether we're talking about what we could do inside the business, rather what we could do inside the business, like marketing, the tools we use, the proposals, the templates, any and everything that I do within the business, or the technician side of it, the troubleshooting, the test and inspection, the maintenance plan, or the programming or installing cars and things like that. So we're a Gamewell dealer. We just signed on to Gamewell, but we still will be teaching any of these panels that we get our hands on. So the Gamewell, the Edwards, and also the Firelight stuff that's out there. So that's the stuff that you're going to be having to learn. And also, if you want to get certified with NICET. So what we're trying to do is the more people that, go through the course, go through the classes, take our training, and then actually pass these NICET certification, get their levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, whatever it is. I can take that information from all of that, the responses we get back. I can take that information, send it up to the state, say, hey, listen, man, we got 1,000 people certified. We want to be just like the other schools out there, the other training centers out there. So when they go through us, we can give them the CEU credits. They can continue their education. So that way, when you go recertify or renew your NICET, you continue your training through us, you get those CEU credits automatically. All right. So you don't have to even worry about that because it's already done. You get I think 70 or 72 points or something like that just for working. So if you have a job working 40 hours a week for that year, you already get a bunch of points. But to get the extra additional points, you have to take some additional learning. And that's where you have to invest in yourself. All right. So this live webinar, like I said, should be about 60 or 90 minutes. Right. So for technicians, this is for and what's on the table. So as we go through this whole entire presentation, you're going to see how this is going to help you. So this is for like the small fire alarm contractor or the technician who's been in the game for a minute and is just thinking in his mind he could do it. He could do it himself, just like how I was over a decade ago. I could do this myself. It's for those people, or the electrician that's looking to add this to their business, because they only do electrical work and they understand that they could do all of the high voltage and all of the low voltage work. So those groups of people, that is my audience. That's who I talk to. So the offer for you guys is the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. It's a structural program that's going to take you from forming your business, getting your license. If you already have your business, which is fine, there's still tools in there that you may not know when actually forming your type of business, or even why you even form your business with LLC or even a corporation. But as we get further down in the slides, we'll go through all of that. Goes through the marketing, the brand architect, and how you can get your money, like funding. So whether it be credit cards, vendor credit, a bunch of different tools to help you, help out with cash flow. So that way, when things get strapped, you can still go get $30,000 of equipment from your vendor, go get that $100,000 job, so that way you can put money back into your business, right? So the live price today, 75% off the entire program. So the cost is like $9,997, $10,000, right? But today it's 75% off, so you get it for like a little less than $3,000. That's tonight only. So after the live event is finished, then it's full price, right? So let's get into this. What you may not know, being that if you're already out in the field, troubleshooting, I almost dropped the light, troubleshooting, doing test inspections, working with a company, and they sending you on, service calls, you're pretty much already doing the work. You just don't know the other side of it. You don't know how much they're billing for your time. You don't know what the process is once you finish that service call and you submit that work order back to the office. You don't really know what that process is behind the scenes. And plus, you don't even know how long they have to wait for the money, but you still get paid every Friday or every other Friday, however they work it out, right? So you're already doing the work. What you need to understand is the actual business side, So how does the business make money in order to pay a technician that's just like you? So nobody taught you how to build a business around skills that you already have. And this is what exactly the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint is. It's going to show you how to actually build a fire alarm business. Even if you don't want to, you'll still have the skill and know-how to actually build a business. You don't need money. You don't need a bunch of money, but if you are in a position and you have either good credit or you have some money to absorb into a business, you're already 100,000 steps ahead, and you could actually exponentially, expand that business so fast and then build your systems and then franchise it so much quicker. But if you don't get discouraged. It doesn't matter. I started with like a 550 credit score. So, and it's still not, I don't have perfect credit. I'm still building my credit because I got a lot of credit cards. I got a lot of loans, SBA loans, bank loans. So I absorb my credit a lot. So what I do is I chill, whatnot, bring the money in, pay the stuff down, bring the debt down, and then whatever disputes I need to send out, I send out and whatnot. So I really don't focus too much 100% on the credit because it's already established. It's building, like the money comes in every day. So all I have to do is just organize it in a way that I keep doing it. So inside of the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, don't worry, we'll show you all that. So tonight's promise is 3 things you're going to learn tonight, right? First thing is why most contractors hit a ceiling and why they stay there. So it's not the marketing, it's not the competition, nor is it the credentials. It's really just like a system, a framework. You don't have a repeatable process to actually make things happen. You know what I'm saying? That's all. The second thing is what breaks through contractors so differently, the specific system that separates owners from operators, right? So you don't want to be the guy working in your business. At times, I'm still working in the business because I do go out and probably do run some wires, do the installs, even though I do have a technician helping me out. I still at times work in the business, but from beginning to now, I do a lot more working on the business. So if I had to give it a percentage, I would say it's still 70 on the business, 30% in the business. So you're going to have to work in the business, but then you're going to have to find ways to work on the business. And that's building out systems, right? So that's how we're going to show you how you can build out your infrastructure so you can stop depending entirely just on your time. Because if you're the only one putting the time in, that means the business only operate around you. And if they remove you, there's no business. So you can't really get away or anything like that. So we're going to show you how to do all of that, right? So you don't need a big crew, perfect credit score, or you don't need to have a decade of experience. So all you need is just a system that you could put in place and it will run and it will operate. So if you have a system that, cold calling or something like that, right? You could either go to maybe Fiverr, or you can hire your son, your daughter, your sister, somebody, a friend, a female's voice, a nice male tone voice, using Chat GPT or Claude or any one of the AI tools to help you build out a call script. Whatever it is that you want to talk about, we have all of that inside of the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, so I don't want you to worry. So my name is Anthony T. Richardson, and I've been in the business for over a long time, like 2 decades. I work with a lot of companies, from Fire Quench, Simplex, Red Hawk, Open Systems, a lot of different companies inside this industry. Plus, I was also in Local 3 for a very, very long time. Worked on fire alarm panels, security panels. We upgraded Madison Square Garden. Did the fire alarm project there, and also the security project there, the access control, and also the camera system there. So I was involved with a lot going on when it comes to fire alarm and security. So I was always the technician that was like, hey, you want to go to training? Yep. Hey, you want to go to training? Yep. Hey, you want? Yep. Right. So I never said no. You know what I mean? I always had the attitude like, I'm here to work and I'm here to get paid. So it didn't matter if it was 4 o'clock and they called me and they needed me to go to Brooklyn. Relative to where I'm from at the time, I was in Bronx. And if you know anything about Bronx, Brooklyn, 2Bs is the most furthest parts away from each other, right? So it didn't matter. Anytime he called, I never gave him the attitude. No, no problem, no problem. I take it because it was always overtime. Plus, at the time, working as a level three technician, I was getting like $35, $36 an hour, right? So overtime was pretty good. I was making a decent amount of money. I wanted to get up to 40, but that was later on in the career after I, left and whatnot. That was with an electrical company I worked with. Gunza Electric, they was giving me like $45 an hour. But I think I had an issue with authority, people telling me what to do, right? So that's probably why I quit. But that's another story. So I stopped being a technician, quit my job, and then I started securities where, rough patch, all the way up until now, to where I had to figure out how I could work on the business. But one thing I did notice is that if you may not have nothing figured out, and you may not always make money all the time. But what I learned is you shouldn't stress yourself out with those emotions, the anxiety while you're going through your phase, whatever that phase is, because the end result always works itself out. So I had to learn that being, you have to just it's a spiritual thing. I ain't gonna even hold you. So it's a spiritual thing. So depending on what your religion is or whatever you feel about the Most High, God, or anything like that, whatever your beliefs are, you would want to attach to that. So that way when you on those down times, you don't, fall into that sunken place. You don't want to do that, right? So you want to stay focused. And how you stay focused is building out whatever systems that you need to build out within your business, all right? So we got minority certified, which gave us an edge in the business, because without that certification, it would have been very difficult for me to actually learn what I learned today, because I'd have been trying to chase money each and every day. So by me getting certified, it just opened up doors for federal, state, and city agencies and other projects, to where these other larger corporations, they have to allocate 30%. So I used to get a lot of emails. Hey, I need a price for this fire alarm job. I need a price for this fire alarm job. Like we're doing 4 train stations in the Bronx, Co-op City, Parkchester, Van Nest, Morris Park, and Hunts Point, right? 6-figure job. And all I have to do is provide smarts and parts. Now imagine if I'm getting 6 figures, what you think the electrician's getting? They're getting millions, right? And what I probably charged them was probably peanuts, but still, it was large to me. It's a lucrative project, right? So that opened up the doors to things like that. So that way I can take that money, hire people, put them into the process, let them manage and perfect the process, tweak it however we need to do it to make it better, so that way I could just keep putting more people in place. And that's what I use the money for. And then now when I have enough capital, I can start competing in the commercial space now with the other big companies. Now we're trying to target buildings in New York City, the high-rise buildings, hotels, and things like that. So it's a slow progress, but you can definitely get there. So the only thing between you and scaling your business is a system that you're not using to run it, right? So the fire alarm business is the most reliable vehicle for building a 6 or even 7-figure contracting company. Demand is not going anywhere. Buildings are built, renovations are happening, government contracts are being awarded right now in your city. So not only that, a strategy that I use with the fire alarm company is, not in the beginning, I was looking for installs, but it's hard, it's cumbersome. How can I do installs like really by myself? I didn't have an electrical team where you pretty much need an electrician for the paperwork and also doing the power and things like that, right? So I had to shift my focus and then say, what could I really handle like by myself? What could I do by myself? I could do service calls and I could do inspections. And I could set up monitoring. So these 3 things right there, that's your RMR. That's your reoccurring revenue. That's your reoccurring revenues right there. All you got to do is install a communicator, boom, 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 hook it up to this, the fire alarm control panel, give them a contract. Depending on where you at, New York City, sometimes $1,500 for the year, up to $3,000, $5,000, whatever you want to charge. But we charge like $1,500 for the year. So you got 10 accounts at $1,500. That's $15,000 a year. Like if you're building them each year, then you have the service contracts, then you have the maintenance contracts. So the maintenance contracts could be 100,000, service contracts could be 50,000, right? And these could all be yearly contracts that you could break into monthly payments, right? So you don't always have to go for the install. There's service. You could fix it. You could fix systems, and there's people that's looking for, minority certified fire alarm companies, especially in the government, federal, and city sectors, right? So the industry is not the problem. It's the system you're using to run your business that is what the actual problem is. So the fire alarm business blueprint, the fire alarm business blueprint is not a collection of tips. It's a step-by-step operational system built specifically for fire alarm contracts that's ready to grow. We actually call it the fireproof system, right? So the fireproof system, each one or each letter is an acronym. So this is how we run our, it's like the operating system of how we actually run the fire alarm business blueprint, right? So the fire alarm business blueprint teach you how to start your fire alarm company, start making some money, but the fireproof system is the operating system that tie all the nuances together inside of your fire alarm business, all right? If that makes sense. So most fire alarm contractors hit a ceiling because they're running the business the same way, just like a job site, right? So you want a job site, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. We got to finish this job so we can get paid. Hurry up, send out the proposal so we can get a new job, right? No. We don't want chaos, right? We want a structural system that's getting us qualified leads, because as a fire alarm company, you don't always have to just do fire alarm. You can do camera systems, burglar alarm systems, intercom systems, access control systems, all telephone systems. You could even get into cable TV if you even wanted to, or even network cable and things like that, right? So it's a plethora of things that you could actually do within the low voltage security. You just have to learn or hire the people that know how to do whatever task that you're trying to do. I didn't even think of this: audio and visual, or lighting control and whatnot. High-end homes, $1 million homes and up, who want like the audio system, the Crestron system and stuff like that. Like, it's so many different things that you can do. So you just have to be able to have a system that's going to attract the people that want your services. And you have to be able to deliver it good, better, and the best than everyone else. That's all. So hustle ain't going to be the one to scale you. All right. So you could hustle until you are, diesel in the legs. So that ain't gonna help you, right? You have to build a system so when you wake up, you see emails of sales that already came in, and the product was already delivered because you have a system in place. So we're gonna talk about the framework of the fire alarm business blueprint, right? So the level 1 is the technician without a license, working independently. Your revenues is tied directly to your personal hours. It feels like a little bit of freedom, but you're still trading hours for time, right? So what you need to understand is, if you're working for somebody else, you're making them rich potentially, right? Which is okay. There's workers out there, and then there's people who want a little bit more in life. It's okay to work. You can still have a very good life just by working. It's all about how you allocate your money, right? Once you put your money into assets over time, it doesn't matter what you do in life. You can have a regular job, or you can be super rich, right? So you can still live on the same level, rather it be, paycheck to paycheck with a job, or paycheck to paycheck as a millionaire. So it doesn't matter. You just have to have the mindset to know, how to structure your money, all right? And level 2, that's the operator, right? This is where I was, I would say, like within my first 5 years, right? I didn't have any technicians. I had friends at the time when in the beginning, close friends that I was using literally using to help me, do installs. I didn't have money to pay them each and every week. So when we got paid whatever job we was on, I broke bread that way. But it was just still a little too stressful, because it was just too stressful to tell them every week, I ain't got it. You gotta wait to the end. We gotta hurry up and finish it so we all get paid. I hated that story. So in the beginning, I had some work coming in. I was doing a lot of subcontracting work with a lot of bigger companies like Stanley, AES, a lot of the bigger companies out there. I was just doing a lot of subcontracting, doing some fire alarm stuff, programming, rewriting panels, and some low voltage work, cameras and stuff like that for other companies. And at that time, that's when I was using my friends to do all the work. But what I did notice at that particular time, I was too involved. I was still working in the business instead of stepping out and letting them be the technicians and me orchestrating it as I should. But I didn't know how to do that at that time. All right. And then level 3, we had the owner. So I had to graduate up to level 3. Right. So now I have systems in place. I have vendor relationships. I have a couple electricians I work with, general contractors. I have relationships with people, accountants, engineers, expediters. So I have a whole team, right? So anytime that if I'm not finding any work, I have electricians that may have some work. I may have a GC that may have some work, right? So I may have a relationship just by email that may throw in some work, or my existing customer panel just died. Now they need an upgrade. So a bunch of these potential things could happen within your business, right? So now we're going to go the old way versus the new way, right? This is like the difference of the fire alarm business blueprint. So the old way is job to job, you receive your income, right? So it's like I got this project, then I got this project, I get this deposit, I get this deposit, but without like vendor credit, you got to spend your cash to go buy the equipment. And sometimes that may take all of your money. And sometimes you may not even get a deposit. You may have to just front up the money up front. So you have to be able to understand how to create other revenues within your business, right? So now most of them use their personal credit to buy materials. You got your personal credit cards that you're swiping because the business is maxed out. So you're exhausting a lot of your personal income just to sustain the business. So in the beginning, you may have to do this. At times, you may have to do this, but you want to try to be able to have things in place to where you can limit this, so where you can actually eliminate this, and you don't have to do this. And that's just by creating different offers, maybe some digital products, because you're already working out in the field. So you want to just start thinking differently of how you can make money in different ways, right? You don't have the access to getting any government work, and sometimes these could be the most lucrative ways to get paid, and some of the most for MDC, right? Manhattan Detention Center down in Brooklyn, the jail facility. They had a fire alarm project, 33 fire alarm troubles, $150,000. That was like you couldn't, if it was over that, they was like canceling. That was the max that they was paying, more or less. So as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, $150,000 to troubleshoot the fire alarm system, ground faults, replacing smokes and pulls. Now the only thing dealing with that is I'm in a jail facility. So fucking what? I'm getting this money. You know what I'm saying? So I went there several times, fixed it up, and then it took them a long time to pay. But regardless of that, you wake up one morning with $150,000 inside of your bank account. Come on, dog. For troubleshooting 32 devices? Come on, man. Like it's that easy. So if without the certification, how would I have gotten that six-figure job just to put batteries in and change out smokes? I would have never been able to get that. So you also don't have a system to write your proposals. You're probably using, a Word document, or typical Word document, maybe a spreadsheet, maybe even a little, QuickBooks or something like that, or some type of financial program, right? There's no system for it. You don't have a template. You need something that's repeatable, something that you could plug in quickly, send it out, and things happen in the background. That's what you need. And your marketing is just the word of mouth only, right? There's no system to let people know that you are out there. You have to build that. And you are on every job site every day. Until I get a programmer, because this is my 30%. So until I could get until I could get Ryan built up to where he got to go, but I'm sending him to training and everything like that. But until I could get someone who can program and actually know these different systems that we work on, I still got to go out there with a laptop. I still got to make these changes and whatnot. But I don't have to do the install no more. I am pulling away from the install, and I am learning to pull away and only go to the job site to show somebody what they need to do, or if they're having troubles. But with the systems that I have, the tools that I have, like for instance, I have Zoho Assist. And what that can do is I can connect to the cell phone of my technicians, and they can just say, look, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I have. I don't know what's going on. And I can just help them right there as if I'm standing there. So the tools, you have to understand, you need to have tools, you need to have systems, and everything need to tie into each other, right? And your income stop when you stop. So if you are out of the business, or you take vacation, or if you get sick, then nothing happened. I was there. I know what that's like. And building a system to where even if you are the solopreneur, you still have things that's moving in place, that's answering emails, phone calls, and things like that, right? So the new way is going to be system driven, proactive bidding pipeline. We're going to have vendor credit lines somewhere like ADI, Anixta. We're going to get your certification. Now, I'm going to give you a caveat on this one, right? Now, your minority certification is for um, all non-white males, right, and women, right? So if you're a white male, you're not going to be able to get a minority certification. But I'm gonna give you the play on how you can, right? So the minority certification, if you're black, if you're African American, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're African, if you're uh, Vietnamese, if you're from Pacific Asian descent, if you're any one of these cultures and other than a European, you can get your minority certification. Now, the twist is they have the woman's minority owned certification. So if you are a white male trying to get certified, you partner up with your wife or your girlfriend or a random girl, whatever, and you get the minority certification through the woman. Here's the thing. They need to actually have at least 51%, right? They have to have the majority stake, and they actually have to know the business. They can't just be there. They literally need to know how the business operate, how the business make money, how the business is gonna. They need to know it as if they are the actual owner. They just can't be a placeholder, right? So that is how you can actually get that done. So getting that certification will open up a bunch of doors. You know what I'm saying? So you can start getting $10,000 to $100,000 worth of for work. So once you start fixing work, not fixing work, but once you start completing work, they look at you as, okay, now this guy's good. Now he's credible now. It doesn't matter the denomination. You could have got your first job of $500. You could have just sent some equipment off that they ordered. They could have just ordered 30 smokes, and you did that. And now you're credible because you completed a job. So the more you do, the better it looks for you. So we have master templates for pretty much everything, timesheets, proposals. If we have to write FDNY violation letters, any and everything. Your Google business profile, we're going to show you how to run paid ads and the whole entire content system. We're going to show you how you handle the team in the field, and how the owner can handle growth and actually grow his or her fire alarm business. And we're going to show you how your revenue continue while you build. So you're already in the right vehicle. You just need a different engine. So you may be sitting in a Honda Civic, but you're trying to get into a Maybach, right? I'm going to show you how we're going to get to that Maybach. So the fire alarm and security market generates over $50 billion, right? And this is just a soft estimate. Not saying that if you get 10% of this, you can have five. No, it's super difficult to get 10% or even 1% of that particular market. But you can make enough money to where you can grow exponentially over time, organically, right? So schools need fire alarm systems. Hospitals need fire alarm systems. Every new building that's being constructed need a new fire alarm system. So a fire alarm system is required. So depending on where you're at, New York or whatever state you're in, a fire alarm system is going to be required to be installed in any erected building that, may burn down, right? So you have to be able to know what sectors to look in, what relationships you need to build, or what the problems are that's in each one of these sectors. So let me give you an example. So a property manager, they have problems with like violations and things like that. An electrician won't have problems with violation. They would have problems with actually getting the system installed. So if you have violations and system installed, but you're talking about you have the best fire alarm company, how are you talking to these two people? Right? You have to talk about violations and how you handle violations, and then you have to talk to the electrician and show them that how you install the system and why partnering you is the best option, right? So you have to figure out what the problems are, create the answers, which is your marketing, and talk to the different segments. That's how you do it. So before the systems, before the contracts, and before the teams, the trade teaches you how to install the system, but nobody teaches you how to run the company that installed that actual fire alarm system. So when I first went independent, it was nobody there to help me. I had no idea what I was going to do. I met some people along the way, felt some shiesty moves and whatnot, but a lot of this stuff, man, we just learned on the fly. I went to, in the beginning, I found that New York City was giving out a lot of free classes. So I did construction mentoring classes, bond readiness classes. And inside of the construction mentoring, that's where I really found out about the minority certification, School Construction Authority, Metropolitan Transportation Authority. So when I went through those programs, the SCA, it showed me how to do bids on, prevailing wage contracts and hire subs, or actually bid as a GC. So it was showing me a lot of information. So the first 5 years of my business, it was just a lot of soaking up information and really just scrambling, making money to pay the rent and take care of the family. You know what I'm saying? But with God, I'm here now, right? No eviction, lights, maybe I think once or twice lights may have gotten shut off. I don't know, but it wasn't unbearable. Everything that I went through was actually bearable. That's why I said earlier, you shouldn't be putting yourself through any anxious emotions when you're going through whatever you're going through, right? Because the end result is always the light, right? So after all of that, get all the gaps in the years, and then precisely that's how I built the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, by learning, looking back at what I did to get here and actually pulling those details out. And once I started doing that, I was like, oh, I remember doing this. Oh, I remember doing this. Oh, I remember doing this. So that's where I started building out the course. So it's not about talent. It's definitely about the system, right? So you could have a flawed system, still trip and make sales, right? And all you have to do is just tweak it and make it better, right? So the starting point is your level 1 or level 2 contractor. You're running jobs, maybe a couple subs, and your revenue is tied to all your personal hours, right? So it's still kind of like trading time for hours, right? Or trading time for dollars. You're still creating a job for yourself, which is still good. Okay, it's not a problem, but we have to get you to the next level. Excuse me. And that's when you use systems, specifically the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. Show you how to get the vendor credit, build your personal credit, stack your credit cards so that way you could pull from a couple credit cards, give yourself a soft loan and things like that. It's a bunch of different things that you can do to get yourself a few dollars in your business to kick it off, especially to at least hire personal assistants, somebody to help you with the paperwork, or project manager to help you send out proposals, or somebody to answer the phones, or a technician, whatever it is. You could put that money into one person to help you in that whatever area you need. And the results is the first government contract, they usually pay. Some of them pay quick, and it goes right into your account, 30 days, sometimes 15 days, right? So that person was more talented, or so it doesn't matter how much talent you have. Just realize everything is about being organized, right? You have to have a structure. You have to have a system in place. So when I first dropped the book, I had to first build up, I want to call it, I don't like to use the word brand, but I had to first build up my name, more or less, right? So they had to know who I was. Excuse me. They had to know who I was, and not only see that, this guy's talking about fire alarm, like anybody can just talk about fire alarm, but oh, wait a minute, this guy actually has his license. Oh shit, wait a minute. This guy, he did an install by himself. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. So if he's talking about it and he's actually doing it, oh, wait, all right. So now let me listen with both ears, right? So that's what I had to do in the beginning, right? So it was a little tough, but I already knew what that mission was, right? And the more I did it, the more I compounded on the same thing, I became a fire alarm expert. So what is actually stopping you? I'm already stretched. I barely have time to run jobs that I have. How am I supposed to build systems on top of this busy life? I just had a baby. I got twins and they're 10 years old, so I get it. It's going to be a lot of obstacles in life. You just have to be able to learn how to call the audibles like Tom Brady, man. That's all. Once you are able to adjust, then nothing is going to ever stop you, man. It's like you got to know how to Barry Sanders throughout the defense. You got to know how to move. That's all you got to know how to do. So your schedule is overloaded because you don't have a system. You wake up probably, I don't know, and do the same things every day. When people tell you to write things down, this is so you can get clear. And also, like if you have 5 things in your mind, right? The brain or the conscious mind doesn't know it's 5 things. Like, I got one, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. It doesn't really know that, right? So that's where the anxious or the anxiety come in, because it's like, oh shit, I got so much to do. But you don't really have a bunch of things to do. You just have a few things to do. Now, if you write those things out, now you just calm the conscious down, like it can see it in real time. Oh, 5. Oh, it's not that much. But inside the mind by itself, it feels overwhelmed, right? So you got to let it out so that way you can release and then see it, and then that'll slow you, ease your mind, right? I know no guru, nothing like that. This is just things that I do in my life to help me, remain sane, right? Because dealing with uh, uh, people can be a little bit tough sometimes, right? So you have to learn how to adjust. So the top three things that's killing contractors and that's blocking them, right? The real obstacles are out there, no pep talk, right? So these real answers, I'm gonna give you some real answers. So every obstacle has a specific, this damn light. Every obstacle has a specific solution, but none of them require to be a different person, right? So you don't have to change who you are. You don't have to do anything like that. You just have to restructure how you do everything, right? So the first one is capital, right? So you can't front the material for bigger costs. You don't know where you're going to get the money from to actually buy the equipment to get the job. What you don't know is if you are a fire alarm contractor, you are licensed and you are insured, you can get, I would say, like if you, let me back up. If you're a fire alarm contractor and you're just doing fire alarm with like firelight and stuff like that, no shade. You're not really a fire alarm contractor, right? Because anybody can go over the market or what they call those aftermarket or buy over the counter fire alarm systems, even on eBay and things like that, right? You need a manufacturer that's exclusive to you, right? So the only ones that I know that's going to be able to give you a deal where you would have to do the lowest is $25,000 per year is Kitty. Kitty is the only one, right? There is Potter, and because you can't really like buy that over the counter, you have to be a dealer. So once you're a dealer with a fire alarm company, then you could work out terms. They don't look at your personal guarantee. It's about the business, the EIN. So you can get $10,000, $15,000, or even $30,000 credit. So that way you can buy their system. However, if you have an account with ADI or a NICST, Triad, you would have to build a relationship, and by building a relationship is buying stuff. So if you could spend a quick $25,000, then you could turn around and get vendor credit. So what I did was I spent money for a whole year, and then that next year I applied for vendor credit. They gave me $100,000 straight up, so I could just buy whatever I wanted from ADIs, because I was able to buy the kit of stuff straight through ADI. I could order it straight through Edwards, or I could order it straight through ADI, or even the NICST, whichever one. So you don't want to have be bottlenecked by money. You just have to learn the strategic plays and find the people that's going to help you, give you stuff for no money, more or less. And competition, right? You can't compete with large firms. I don't compete with Simplex. I don't compete with none of the fire alarm companies I used to work for. The reason why I don't compete with them because I can't. We all sell fire alarm systems, but I sell a different fire alarm system, not because I'm a Gainwell dealer or because they're an Edwards dealer. It doesn't matter what manufacturer I have. It's because I have this damn light. It's because I have an offer, right? My offer is the Command Core ECS. And what that means is I have a fire alarm ecosystem. So we give you a full compliant fire alarm system, voice, or rather not non-voice, maintenance contract, service contract, monitoring contract, 10-year guarantee inspection, guarantee on your system. So we stack the offer and we say we're going to call it the Command Core ECS system. This is what we giving you. And inside the ecosystem, this is how we install the system, the perfect fire alarm system. This is what happens after. This is what happened during, before, and after, engineering, and everything like that. So we stack the offer like that. No other company is doing it like that. They're not, right? So I had to differentiate myself. Plus, I teach on YouTube. I teach in the school community. I teach and educate on every social media platform, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm just teaching, and I'm teaching without nothing in return. I don't want nothing in return because the fire alarm, my company has already given me what I want. But the benefit is I am going to make a little cash. I am going to get monetized these channels, and I am going to have an influx of income coming in from different avenues. Yes, I will. But you know what? The ultimate goal is so you can learn, because there was nobody there back then. When I was coming, I used to ask questions. Ain't nobody was trying to help me. You know what I'm saying? So that's another story. Then we're going to show you how to write your proposal writing. You're really just listing items out. You're not really explaining who you are, what you're delivering, how you're going to deliver it, and really the final cost, the breakdown, and things like that. So we're going to show you how you do all of those things. And if you feel that you are weak in any of these areas, that's your bottleneck. We're going to fix that in Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. So you don't have the capital to take on bigger jobs. The real answer is you don't need cash up front. Like I said before, you got the vendor credit. You can get, on day one, you could even get $5,000, right? Most cases, you can get a deposit so that way you could, buy whatever you need up front and then get the vendor credit after that. So it's a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different strategies that you can do. So inside module 5 on the vendor guide, we're going to walk you through exactly how to open up these accounts, the documents you need, the exact sequence, and how to grow from a $2,000 all the way up to $100,000 in trade lines, right? So cash flow is never supposed to be a bottleneck, nor is supposed to be co-mingled with your personal assets. So the second objection is I can't compete with large established companies for government work, right? This is only assumed that, these government contractors are competing for, large projects, right? You're all not competing because the government have a specific criteria and you have to match that criteria. You have to be the most responsive and you have to be the most responsible, right? So it's not about your lowest price. You just have to cross all your T's, dot all your I's, because it's paperwork you got to get notarized, paperwork you have to sign, packages you have to fill out and submit a certain way. So if it's not done in any of those orders, you're not responsible, nor are you responsive, right? So you have to be completely responsible and completely responsive to actually win a government contract. And the next thing after that, they have to allot 30% of a contract, to smaller minority companies anyway. So you could always get your hands inside of a project. Excuse me. So government entities are required by law to allocate a portion of contracts, which is usually like anywhere up to 30% to minority business owners. The programs are MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, DBE, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, that's through the Metropolitan Transportation Authority that open up track work. You can work in the Port Authority and MTA, all the trains, they have fire alarm system in those substations. I know you see cameras. They have camera systems in those substations. PA systems, they have all of that in those stations. So the electrician or the GC, 9 times out of 10 will probably be awarded these particular jobs because these are prevailing wage jobs. You would have to know these people. You would have to build the relationships because they're on the list. You find them on the list, you email them, and you build relationships with them. So when a low voltage job come up, they're going to be sending you the email because it's not a big pool of fire alarm certified minority businesses. It's not a big pool out there. So you have the advantage of getting your foot in, getting 6 or 7 figure projects on projects that's $100 million, $10 million, $50 million. You can actually get some good paper just for doing smarts and parts in the fire alarm system. So inside of the fire alarm business blueprint module number 7, that's the certification accelerator. Certification accelerator. We're going to show you how you're going to get yourself minority certified through all of these channels, SCA and also the MTA. So that way you can either focus on that solely and then build a business within that agency, or just focus on that and other agencies as well. And especially when you're certified, you're not bidding against the big companies like Siemens, Johnson Controls, anything like that. You're just bidding against other small certified businesses because it's usually a cap on what they have for these particular projects. But if it's a big capital improvement projects, then like I said, you have to build relationships with general contractors and electricians. So now the third objection is I don't know how to write winning proposals. Contractors do not go to most skilled techs, right? Contracts go to companies that submit the most compelling proposal each and every time. A winning proposal follows a formula, not a creative exercise. So you have a cover letter, you have the company overview, which your licenses and certifications, like a breakdown of your background and company, a clear scope of work, your timeline with milestones, transparent pricing, your past performances as evidence, whatever fire alarm, camera jobs, whatever it is, whatever job you did in the past, the name, the contact person, whoever you was in contact with, and how the dollar value of that particular job, right? And then you have the bios for you and also your team, and then the business, right? All into one. And it's easy to put together, and then you just have your contact information at the end, right? And module 6, the contract navigator, provides that master template for you to customize any and every proposal that you need to send out for whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? So you're not going to be writing bids from scratch. You're not going to be submitting packages that position you as a non-credible business. You're going to look professional each and every time you submit either sources sought, request for information, request for quote, or request for a proposal. Whatever it is that you have to send out, your proposal is going to fit that theme. Now, every obstacle has a solution. If you have a capital problem, that's solved by the vendor credit, module number 5. If you have a competition problem, that's solved by the minority certification in module 7. If you have a proposal problem, that's solved by module number 6, the certification accelerator, right? None of these require you to be a different person, have a different background, or wait until you feel ready. The Fire Alarm Business Blueprint covers all of them. So you don't have to figure this out alone. We'll be here with you every step of the way. And if you join the school community, or even just right here on YouTube, you're going to get the information. You're going to get the information. So it's up to you to have the ability to have that information just resolved. You know, it takes time for you to have understanding. So, but once you have it, nobody can take it from you. So here's everything you get in one place, right? The Fire Alarm Business Blueprint has 9 modules. Each one is named after each system in the way you build it, right? So the structure selected shows you how to build your business. We'll get into that, right? Every system, every module, and every template is all in one place. I'll be there to support you every step of the way. We got videos, live support, newsletters, emails, cheat sheets, templates, everything that you're going to need to help you and excel you to the next level, right? So module 1, which is the structure selector. There, we're going to show you how you could form a business. We're going to explain the difference between an LLC and a corporation really quickly. LLC, you just have a group of managing members. Each one of you is responsible for taxes, and you got to figure out, you know, like how much money the splits, whatever the splits are between you. When it comes to a corporation, you have a C Corp and an S Corp. Quick differences: a C Corp is taxed at the corporate level. You can have unlimited investors. Those are the ones that go public on the stock market. On the S Corp, there's pass-through taxation. So you're taxed on the individual level, but everything is only taxed once. So corporate level is taxed twice. You have the corporate, and then you have your individual taxes. But on a S Corp, you fill out a K1, so you only tax once on the as the owner. So I'm taxed as the owner using my K1 to file my corporate taxes. And I can only have up to 100 investors, and they all have to be based in the US, right? So those are the little differences. But you could always bump up to a C Corp, because what I'm trying to do is you can't sell or get investors from an LLC. They're going to look at you like, you ain't serious. But if you have a structured corporation, rather than an S Corp or C Corp, they're looking for structures like that to put money into it, right? So if you want to have an exit strategy for you to sell one day, just make sure you bump it up to a corporation. So we show you those things, show you how you get your website, your URL, your Google profile. We teach you everything you need to do in the startup phase. You know, we touch a little bit on social media, but we get into that, into the brand architect. Because if you're just starting out, you should at least have a profile on every platform. You don't have to post on every platform, but you should at least have your name already registered without no hashtags or different characters like that, right? Securities I have on all platforms until I change it to the Fire Alarm Expert. No underscores, no hashtags, no nothing. So I had my name, right? So that's the structure selector. It's a bunch of modules in there. It's going to show you, like I said, form the business, give you that information. The foundation is going to show you how to build the foundation actually the right way. The second module is the License Navigator. And this is going to give you a brief overview of what you can look for when you go and take your fire alarm license, when you actually go and take the course for the fire alarm license, right? So this course is not a prerequisite for you to go and take your fire alarm license, but I am state approved instructor, and I do have a state approved 81-hour course. So what this will do is unlock 50% off, right? 50% off. So you can go and take the 81-hour course as the prerequisite, so you can go and take the state exam and get your fire alarm license in New York State, right? The actual course is $250, and being that if you're going through the fire alarm business blueprint, you'd only have to pay $1,250. You get the NFPA 72 book, NFPA 70 book, IBC book, the Uglies book, the NASCALA book. You'll get 150 it's like test questions for the New York State exam, 150 of them. It's like 30 or 40 questions per module, 5 modules. So you get a bunch of things. You get the workbook, the student workbook, the course syllabus, and all of the downloaded material for the 81-hour course. So you get all of that for $2,500, but you'll get 50% off when you go through the Licensed Navigator. Because the Licensed Navigator, I only pulled out section 1 of module 1. So I pulled out 5 modules from section 1, module 1, inside of the 81-hour course. So you'll get a brief introduction of what you can expect inside the course. Module 3 is the insurance strategist. There we show you how you can get yourself properly insured. You want to get your workers' comp insurance, insured, because when you start your business, that's a question they're going to ask. Are you going to hire employees? Yes or no? You want to make sure you mark yes, right? So when you mark yes, you're going to eventually get workers' comp. You're going to get general liability. You're going to get auto to non-hired insurance. This is insurance that will cover, let's say you hire a subcontractor and they're driving their own car, it covers them. This is separate from auto insurance that you're also going to have as well, right? So you're going to have your auto insurance, personal, and then you're going to have your business auto insurance. So once you have that, then we're going to work on getting you bonded. So now when you become bonded, that just says that this company is bonded, let's say $1 million, because all you need is 10% to get bonded for $1 million. If you have $100,000 cash in your account, or you can get $100,000 cash in your account, you got to have it in your account for at least 3 months, right? So if you have that money in your account, even if you have $10,000, you can get a $100,000 bond. Pretty much all it's saying is that this company is bonded, right? So if I go and enter this project, I'm going to finish this project no matter what, because if I don't finish this project, then the bond company will come in and hire somebody else to finish this project at whatever the cost is, whatever the project value is, nothing extra, nothing less. So even if we fuck up, somebody else is going to come in and clean it up. So that's pretty much what you're saying. So when you get bonded, especially up to $1 million or even more, you look way more credible. And then that's how you get the $10 million projects. Module 4 is the market monster. This is going to be a comprehensive course. This should be a course within itself, by itself. It's going to go through a hell of a lot. You may be confused, but I want you to know that there's cheat sheets that you can download that breaks down everything that I'm saying. It gives you frameworks. It gives you systems. It gives you what to say, blank spaces that, you can input what you need to input. So, I have an X that need a Y, right? So it will give you all of that information. But this one right here is going to be a lot of videos to watch. And I tried to keep it short, but I just have to give you the overall like the 30,000 view before I could actually give you the whole meat and potatoes at the end and whatnot, right? So I had to break it down into small little pieces so that way you understand it. So go to the Google business profile, paid advertising, and like a 90-day acquisition plan. So showed you about, teach you how to talk to your audience, find your audience, create funnels, websites, things like that. So now, Module 5 is the vendor guide. This is where we show you how you can set up the systems to find your vendors. So that way when cash is tight, you can still buy your equipment. You can buy your IP cameras. You can buy your smoke detectors, your fire alarm panels, and things like that. You can buy whatever it is that you need, because these vendors either give you 45 or 60 days to either pay it back, right? And then sometimes a little long, you just got to talk to them. You got to work it out. Hey, the contractor didn't pay yet. As soon as they pay, you're going to get whatever it is. You need to work it out, but they give you ample time to pay it back. Module 6 is the contract navigator. This is going to show you how you could bid on government contracts, what the different types of bids are, what's a sources sort notice, what's an RFI, RFP, RFQ, what all of these different things are, and what proposal template should I use for each one of these, right? So a caveat to this is anytime there's a sources sort notice, or you should just be scrubbing the government sector for sources sort notice. What that is a marketing that they're doing. They want to see who's out there and how many people is going to bid on it, right? So let's say specific to a fire alarm system that you know requires a key, and they're putting out a bid for upgrades. Let's say on an Edwards on the EST3, and they want to add 10 smoke detectors. So I'm going through the sources sort notice saying that they want to add 10 smoke detectors to this Edwards system, and this is the platform, this is the drawings and things like that. So, and the sources sort is not a solicitation. They're just trying to gather information. So my response to that sources sort notice, because I know that I'm going to need a key. I know I'm going to need the software, because if I don't have the software, I'm going to have to rewrite it. So in my response to them in the sources sort notice, I'm going to let them know, hey, I know that this is an Edwards system. Do you guys have the program? If you guys don't have the program, then we're going to have to rewrite this at an additional cost based on the size of your system. Anything less than 100 devices may cost you $50,000. Over 100,000, over 100 devices may cost you anywhere between 75 and 100,000. You just don't ballpark numbers. Now, when they get this information back and actually put the solicitation out, they may include, oh, you have to rewrite the system to add the 10 smoke detectors. So that means they had to go back to the Federal Reserve and upgrade their budget. They had to go get some more money, right? So that's how you respond to these sources sort notice. And when they actually put the solicitation out, don't forget to bid on it, because you already in their mind. So once you bid on it, it's likely you may even get that job. It's likely you may even get that job. So you have to swim in the sources sort notice stage. And we teach you how to do that in the Contract Navigator. And in the Certification Accelerator, this is where we show you how to get yourself minority certified, what the School Construction Authority, how to get certified with them, how to get certified with Turner and all these other different agencies, how to get certified with your DBE and get your minority certification for MTA and Port Authority, New York City and New York State. So that way you can unlock all the doors. And module 8 is the brand architect. This is going to also be comprehensive, similar to the Market Monster. We're going to show you how you can build your personal brand. This is how you drive organic leads. This is better than paid ads, right? So you're going to run ads and you're going to learn how to build your personal brand, because the more you build out your personal brand and become more aware to the audience out there, build up your following, things like that, your ad game becomes easier. It becomes way more easier when you're running your ads, right? You can reach a lot more people. So you're going to have to get out that shell. And then lastly, and the last module is the funding tools. So we give you tools on personal credit, business credit, and how to use other people's money. We have credit letter software that we're going to give you access to. If you don't know how to dispute these agencies, or these consumer reporting agencies, if you don't know how to do it, we have software that has the credit letters there for you. You upload your credit report, and it'll build out the letters for you. We could also help you, walk you through that, and show you how to do that as well. That is free, because once you're inside a Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, all the tools will unlock for you. So here's the 9 modules in a glance. The Structure Selector, License Navigator, Insurance Strategist, Market Monster, the Vendor Guide, Contract Navigator, Certification Accelerator, the Brand Architect, and the Funding Tools. This is how you will run your fire alarm business. Now, where the fireproof business come into play, it connects 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and all the way to 9, and also interconnects 9 to 1, 9 to 2, and the 5, and vice versa. So the fireproof is the operating system. The Fire Alarm Business Blueprint is the actual force that's driving the operating system. So here's what you also get. You also get my new book, the Fire Alarm Pocket Edition. This is actually the field notes. So I got some. So you'll get a copy of my book. The Fire Alarm Field Notes Pocket Edition. Just quick tips. This is not like a book you're going to sit down and read and get educated. No. This is not what it's for. You throw this in your bag, and this is your screwdriver. This is your fluke meter or your green lead meter, whatever meter you got. This is your pliers, your strippers. This is going to help you in the field. You know, it's a little specific to Edwards, but that's okay. It still will give you the tools that you need. So you stuck on a ground fault and you just frustrated, you know, because a lot of times we just need to take a break. So you take a break, you go outside, and then you just read the steps, and you go back in and fix the ground fault. We have NFPA code books and standards, slide deck. This is actually a presentation I built that's had over 900 slides of codes that I pulled out from the NFPA book. So if you're unable to, you know, buy the NFPA books, that's fine. That's fine. It's okay. We have the most important codes over 900 slides, right? And then you get access to the tier 3 of the school community. Inside the school community of the tier 3, that will unlock all levels of NICET, NICET 1, 2, 3, and 4, where you will have over 500-600 videos of, you know, just codes and standards and breakdowns, cheat sheets, tools, quizzes, practice exams, trackers, everything. So once you complete module 2 inside of the License Navigator, it would be suggested to go and take that 81-hour course. There's no expiration on the 50% discount. Whenever you go through the License Navigator and whenever you're ready, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, it doesn't matter. Whenever you're ready to go and get your New York State license, you still get that 50% off because you went through the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. And the only thing you need is your license. So I'm trying to show you guys how you could actually create a vertical business, right? We're going to train technicians. We're going to actually be a fire alarm company, right? Then we're going to actually have a framework to show other people how to do it. My next step after that is really, I want to get design my own fire alarm panel, so that way I could have a warehouse building panels, people buying my panels, and then I have the trucking company shipping panels across the different fire alarm companies. Yes, vertical. Yes, we're trying to get rich out here, stupid rich. And you're going to lose a lot of people along the way, a lot of people that you actually love. But you got to do it, man, because God got a purpose for you, your eyes only, right? So the full retail value of the blueprint is $9,997, right? But on this live, you get it for $2,995, a little less than $3,000. And also, if you go through module 2 of the License Navigator, the full price is $2,500 for the 81-hour course with the books and everything. You get that for $1,250. Now, this is going to be available for the next 24 hours and only 24 hours only. Then after that, the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint is back at its original price at $10,000, right? So that's how much it's going to cost. Now, I have 4 out of the 9 modules completed because there's a lot of work that I got to do, installs, record modules, and I don't want to use AI, right? I could use AI to finish out the whole entire course. I don't think I really want to do that, right? I tried it and it just didn't come out right. And I don't want to cheat you guys, right? So I really want to just record everything, use AI where I can. And then for the most part, if I'm teaching you how to do this, I want it to be coming out from me, right? The horse's mouth itself, right? So after this, it goes back up to $10,000. But you could do it monthly. So it could be $1,000 a month, $800 a month, quarterly, however you feel comfortable with, making these payments. So now if the blueprint was the only thing, if all the blueprint did was, right, if the only thing that I did inside of the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint was get you one contract, one monitoring contract, one maintenance contract, one service contract, or one install contract, what would you rate that, right? How would that be valuable to you, right? Get your vendor credit, get your certification, show you how to market. Because once you learn how to market, the game is easy. It really becomes easy after that. All you got to do is just put money, man. When I dropped this book, right, I'm going on a tangent, right? When I dropped this book, the first 100 copies, I really didn't know what it was going to do. I did not run an ad until a week later. I created 3 social media posts: TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Just off the post alone, 50 books went the first day. The first day. I know Alex Hormozy, and I've never wrote a book, but when I sold 50 books in one day, I felt like Alex Hormozy, right? I've never sold a book. So the accomplishment of selling 50 books in one day was crazy. Now it showed me if I just put a lot more money behind it, how many more books could I really sell? How many people could I really touch? How many? I could get to 1 million people touching pause. I could touch 1 million. That's still a pause. I can get this book into 1 million people's hands and help 1 million technicians, right? That's what I'm trying to do. So you're not buying a course. You're actually buying an infrastructure to show you how to actually operate your business successfully. So the price tonight, the full price for the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint, and this is just for the course only, like I said, it's $10,000. Tonight's price, $2,500. I gave you the wrong price earlier. I said 29, right? No, even less. $24.99 tonight only, right? Payment plans available, 3 payments of $833 at no interest, no penalties for paying in full, early, doesn't matter. After the webinar closes, shoots back up to $997. But if you have any issues when you go hit the link and it's still saying $997, shoot me an email before you make any purchases first if you want to take the lesser option, all right? Shoot me an email first. The one-on-one coaching, if you want to hire me to be your coach for the year, that's $15,000. So the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint and one-on-one coach, $25,000 straight off the bat. I'll show you how to do each and everything from start to finish, accountability, everything. So it unlock all the tools to help you with the credit, the GPTs, the school community, everything that you would need to get you from unstuck or get you from stuck to unstuck, whatever that is. So now this is 30-day. I'm guaranteeing this for 30 days, right? You're unhappy. You didn't learn nothing. It is too overwhelming. It don't make sense. Whatever it is, you want your money back, I'll give it back to you. I have no issues. But you got 30 days. Because if you don't, then I can't give you the money back. It's just, I can't do that. But I do want to help you, right? So what we can do is work something out if you're unhappy. But within that 30 days, if you are unhappy, please let me know so I can make the adjustments and give you your money back. Because I don't want no bad feelings. And I'll still give you the access to the course. You can still have the course. So don't sit there and try to play yourself and be like, oh, I'm unhappy, give my money back and still get access to the course. No, we're not doing that. But what I want to let you know is that it's not about the money, right? Because I want you to learn. I want you to learn actually how to do this. Because if we could have actual more fire alarm companies within this sector doing the right thing, and we can help each other, not always be in competition, we can make this a better industry. We can have more jobs for people. We can help out our families. We could retire early. We could do whatever we want, take trips, whatever it is that we want to do. You want to buy McLarens and Maybachs and things like that? They got the auto show going out here in New York. We can do all of that. So here's what you're going to do now, right? I have a link in the chat, link in this video. You fill out that form. It'll take you to the website to where, take you to the actual landing page to where you can actually make the purchase. Like I said, if you want to do the payment option and you don't see the payment option there, just make sure you send me an email at anthony.richardson@secureitsecurities.com. Shoot me an email, say, hey, I want to do the payment plan, and I'll send you a direct link, all right? You got 24 hours for the course to be $24.99. After today, it's going back up to the $10,000, right? So, and remember, when you complete module 2, you get 50% off our 81-hour prerequisite to get your New York State fire alarm license, right? So the fire alarm industry is not or never or will never slow down. Buildings are being built. Every building that's being built needs a fire alarm system. There's a building out there who a building owner, property manager, or somebody out there who don't like the vendor that they have now. So you have to find them. And you find them through talking to them through marketing. Depending on who you're talking to, you have to have a different message for whomever you're talking to. And we show you how to do that in the Market Monster. So if you have any questions, you can drop them down in the chat. I'll be here for a little bit. And we'll go from there.
but I want to handle some objections real quick, right? The first one is this price really only good tonight? Yes. You get 75% off tonight only. After tonight, it goes up to 10,000. I'm not in New York. Does this apply to me? The only thing that don't apply to you is your fire alarm license. The fire alarm business blueprint will still apply to you no matter where you are in the United States, or rather in the world. So if you, whatever license requirement you need for your particular state, city, whatever it is, you have to get that or figure out how to get that, or we could work together to figure out how to do so. But if you, whatever state you're in, you probably already know how to do that. But you probably don't know how to run the business. You probably don't know how to market your fire alarm company, right? I'm going to show you how to do that, right? So you don't have your license yet. Is it still too early? No, you don't need your license because we have the license course. The license navigator is like a smidget of what you need to learn. But me being a certified instructor by New York State and having an approved 81-hour course, I just have to find a location. We're going to have to do it out here in Blue Hill, but I'm going to get a training center in the city, one of the boroughs, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Bronx, one of them, not Staten Island, but really Brooklyn really Bronx or Manhattan. I'm really trying to get in one of those two areas where I could put a training center down there because I live upstate. I want to be able to make sure I can have a decent ride back when I come back home, right? So no, you don't have to have your license, because once you go through the program, the vertical businesses, you're going to learn how to do the fire alarm business, and then you can actually get your fire alarm license. So once you have the two, then you just got to start putting them together and start doing it, doing the do. That's all you have to do. So what support is there if I get stuck, right? The Tier 3 school community is included. We go live every 2 weeks to where you could ask, upfront questions, whatever you want to ask. If it's a NICET question, a troubleshooting question, programming question, business question, whatever it is, especially if you're going through the program, you probably will have a bunch of questions. So whatever it is, if I can answer it, I'll answer it, right? And the next question is, can I do a payment plan? Yes, you could also do a payment plan. We have flexible payment plans for everybody. Not everybody has, chunks of money just laying around, and we want to be accessible to everyone. So even though the fire alarm business blueprint is a $10,000 course, I have a condensed free version on YouTube. You can go check that out, all 9 modules. So you don't have to go through the blueprint course. You can just watch me on YouTube for wild years and you'll still have the information. It's totally up to you. One question I got before you go: what is staying exactly where you are costing you right now? Somebody asked me that, and I was like, that's a good ass question. Because 6 months from now, I'll probably still be in the same goddamn spot. So if I don't take action now, I don't know what my future will be. So that's a very difficult question to answer. What they're trying to do is what I'm trying to do is get you to take action, to think. What do I want to do? Do I want to still be stuck in the same position, or do I want to get to step 2? You have to answer that. Once you answer that, you'll be able to make a sound decision. So all you got to do is click the link and fill out the form, and I'll see you inside the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. All right. So that is the end of the presentation. Like I said, I'm going to kick around for a minute. Go back to here and where we at? Stop sharing. And I'm going to just hang out for a minute. See if you have any questions here. This is the office. And some stuff here, little panels and modules and things like that. Some stuff that we worked on. So if ever we need to change some stuff on whatever system we're working on, we got that stuff right there really quickly. And if whatever else we need, we'll just go to our supplier, either go pick it up, or if it's something we got to order, we'll just order it. But that's pretty much it. So the whole entire program is there to help you get from one place to the next, to get from being stuck to being unstuck, right? Especially getting clear on your message. What is a message? How do you speak to an electrician? How do you speak to a property owner? How do you speak to, the hospital system. How do you speak to hotels? You have to learn how to speak to all these different market segments. All right. So we got a question here. It says, and this is coming from Angela Less 123, and she says, how long is the program? Well, it's a lot of it's non modules, and some modules have 12 lessons. Some modules have non modules with 7 lessons in them. So it's a lot. I'm already up to 43, and I think I'm gonna have about over 100 videos, to be honest with you. It is a lot, but it's a lot that I had to break down in detail. I couldn't just uh, give you the overview because you wouldn't understand it. I had to give you the nuance so that way you could see how the two connect or how things connect, right? And then as we go live and you start learning more and doing it more, it'll start making more sense, all right? So that's the end of the presentation of the Firearm Business Blueprint. Don't forget, click that link and get yourself, get that freedom that you're looking for. Take care of your family, or buy cars, or if you like to go shopping to be fresh, or to buy jewelry, or if you got a rap career, you can support it. Whatever it is, you can do it. All right. I'll catch you in a couple of weeks. On I can't remember the day, but I think I'm gonna do something a little different the next time. But stay tuned. All right. You can follow me on Instagram at the Fire Alarm Expert, Facebook at Secure Securities, TikTok at the Fire Alarm Expert, and YouTube at the Fire Alarm Expert. All right. I'll holler at you. Catch you in the next one. Peace.